We're going to assume you want to hear some spoilery lines from Spider-Man No Way Home, but how do these snippets of dialogue tie into past MCU movies? And how do they reveal precious details about Spider-Man's inevitable reinvention? For as long as there has been a Spider-Man, there has been a kid having difficulty, as YouTube influencers would say, monetizing his craft. In the comics, he's been a wrestler, a photographer, a teacher, and more. In Far From Home, he's a student, and by the end, he's essentially out on the street, forced to start anew in a cruddy, depressing, nondescript apartment.
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker! What the
It's an interesting dynamic in No Way Home that Holland's Peter Parker goes from being, quote, the most famous person in the world to someone who literally has no one left who knows he's alive. But whether he's famous or anonymous, the one constant is that Peter barely has 2 pennies to rub together. Not that this matters to MJ. Her coffee shop job likely isn't bringing in big bucks either, but with their big brains and MJ's MIT education imminent, better days might be ahead. With any luck, those days might just be together. This is a key sentence, but one quickly tossed off by Doctor Strange as an explanation for why he and Peter can't simply jump through time a la Endgame, fixing reality to suit their needs. The Green Time Stone, obviously, is one of the 6 Infinity Stones. It was contained in the Eye of Agamotto for many of Strange's early adventures, empowering him in moments like his now legendary negotiations with Dormammu. Say it with us.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Doctor Strange handed over the stone in exchange for Iron Man's life, and Thanos would later use the Time Stone to bring Vision back to life, just long enough to get his Mind Stone. It was later destroyed, but the Avengers time heist had Hulk convincing the Ancient One to give up the stone in 2012. After the world was saved, the Time Stone was returned by Captain America. For all intents and purposes, our Doctor Strange does not have the Time Stone. Asked by Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, the question is one of many that shines a light on what does and does not exist in the alternate universes these Spider-Men come from. Such questions also work on a second level, as perhaps a bit of jealousy that Tom Holland came of age when the entirety of the Marvel toy box was available to play with, not the restrictive, stick-to-your-own studio mindset when Maguire and Andrew Garfield were headlining the franchise. In No Way Home, Holland's Peter Parker cites his Avengers inclusion as proof that he's a team player. This is interesting because, in most ways, the other 2 Spider-Men seem to be better experienced and more capable. But sure enough, when Holland's Parker draws up a plan, the other 2 fall in line behind him, perhaps sensing a more authoritative, battle-worn presence. This is an interesting sentence because of our memory of the Infinity War trailers, when they made it look as if Hulk was going to be fighting in Wakanda. Of course, they then pulled a switcheroo with Banner in the Hulkbuster. The No Way Home trailers avoid this phrase in an effort to make it seem as if Doctor Strange's librarian/assistant/confidant, Wong, is opposed to the whole make the world forget who Spider-Man is spell, which in actuality, he's just turning a blind eye to it. Huge difference. Essentially walking away from the problem, Wong leaves Strange and Peter to deal with it themselves. From there, things don't go so well, showing that Wong did indeed know best. Although, to be fair, he really should have protested as emphatically as the trailers made it look like he would.
Strange.
Don't cast that spell. It's too dangerous. Fine. I won't.
During a tense moment in the film when Peter has taken all the villains back to Happy Hogan's spiritual oasis to devise a plan, Electro asks this question of Tom Holland's Peter Parker. But although he seeks to belittle our hero, what Electro doesn't realize is that those Legos symbolize a lot more than mere playtime. In Spider-Man Homecoming, that Death Star Lego set is what brings Peter and Ned together for endless hours of teen bonding.
Join me and together we'll build my new Lego Death Star.
Ned uses the Emperor to approach Peter in one scene, and later when Ned sees Peter spider-walking across the ceiling, he drops the Death Star.
What was that?
No Way Home turns the Death Star into a callback to those original moments of friendly bonding, as the set is destroyed once again and lays in rubble for most of the film. But as a sweet reminder of their friendship, at the end of the movie when Ned's memory of Peter's been wiped, along with everyone else on the planet, one of the first items Peter places in his crummy new apartment is that Lego minifigure of the Emperor. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about Spider-Man No Way Home are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.